Chelsea Sherrod here with ESPN senior writer and the author of It's Better to Be Feared, Seth Wickersham. Seth, how are you doing?
I'm great.
Awesome. I understand the nature surrounding the release of this book, Tom Brady leaving to go down to Tampa Bay, the end to this Patriots dynasty, but why this book and why now?
You know, I think that what made the Patriots so interesting and what made them personally interesting to me and interesting to a lot of people is their sustained greatness. And even though there were arguments and fights and four-letter words along the way, I was really interested in learning about what made two men, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, so great at this for so long and how that was able to occur. And so that's what I really tried to explore as best I could with the book.
And so you wrote about Tom Brady voicing that he wanted to stay in New England until he was 45 years old before ultimately leaving and going down to Tampa Bay. Brady goes down to Tampa Bay, wins a Super Bowl in their first season. He seems happy, but Robert Kraft says he wants TB12 to ultimately retire in New England. Do you think that's something that's realistic at this point?
Well, we'll see. I mean, Tom Brady, after the game the other night, definitely seemed to open the door to it. And I think that Brady wanted to be more than just a quarterback. And even though the Patriots have been wildly successful, I think that he saw in Tampa Bay another way to do his job. He's the quarterback. He's the pseudo-offensive coordinator. He's basically an executive with the team. Alex Guerrero, who Belichick famously banned from part of the building here in New England, has an office in the Bucs facility and got a Super Bowl ring. So things are quite different for Tom in Tampa. But I think that if we learned anything from the game the other night, it's that I think that he's definitely open to coming back to New England and maybe signing one of those one-day deals that allows him to retire.
Definitely. And so we're in talking about the game the other night. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady reportedly spoke for 20 minutes following the game. Where do you think their relationship stands today?
Well, I just know what Tom has said publicly, and hopefully they stand in a good place. I think that no matter what, even if these guys got on each other's nerves at times, they were phenomenally successful over 20 years. And I think that when each of them is inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, they'll speak of their relationship in terms of love, and I think that that's sincere.
And so the Tom Brady-Bill Belichick Patriots relationship is something of the past now, but the Kraft-Belichick relationship is still ongoing. What do you think about their relationship and where it stands, especially after some of the incendiary comments that were made about Belichick that you attribute to Kraft in the book?
Well, I think that their relationship has always been strong. It's a working relationship, and Robert Kraft will probably be in the Hall of Fame, and it's because he made that trade for Belichick, which now looks like the greatest trade in NFL history, and because he was able to keep the band together for so long. And I think that that doesn't mean that it didn't come with managerial challenges along the way. These type A personalities can be difficult to manage, but generally speaking, Robert Kraft did a masterful job at managing them.
So we've been able to read several excerpts of the book leading up to its release, but what's one story or one anecdote that you have that you want to talk about that hasn't been spoken about yet?
You know, I think that there's some funny moments along the way that I think that hopefully fans will love, whether it was some of the assistant coaches once rigging Belichick's computer so that porn came out and he couldn't figure out how to turn it off and ended up getting under his desk and unplugging his computer, or Tom Brady one day bringing Gisele Bündchen's dog to the Patriots facility in a Louis Vuitton bag and needed somewhere to hide the dog and made an assistant coach promise him that nobody would find out about it. Of course, the locker room knew about it within an hour and gave him a hard time. So I think that, like, you know, I try to go deep into, you know, what these guys are made of and what makes them tick, but hopefully there are some funny stories along the way that people like.
So what do you want the average NFL fan or the average Patriots fan to take away from this book?
Just how this greatness was made and what the costs of it were. I think that I try to just go deep into, you know, all of the hidden moments along the way and go deep into some of the obvious moments and try to shed some new light into things about what made Tom Brady and Bill Belichick Hall of Famers and what allowed them to work together for so long.
Absolutely, and you can get your hands on It's Better to Be Feared. That is releasing nationally on October 12th.